So I'll tell you in short about me, what I am. Okay, I was born in Alleppey from Kerala, but within 6 months I started my journey across India. My dad being in the paramilitary, I have lived in numerous states, except the East India, where I never had the opportunity to come to your side, the Calcutta and the Orissa side. Even though I would love to, to explore the culture and the food there, I never had this opportunity till now. I'm 41 now. Yeah. So I have spent my childhood in Madhya Pradesh, UP, Delhi, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Telangana, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala. Within my 12th grade, I have changed 7 different states, 7 different schools, and of course, 7 different syllabuses also. So it was not very easy for me in the childhood, but I believe this upbringing which I had it has actually helped me a lot in my current career as a life coach and as a corporate soft skills trainer. It helps me to connect with people. It helps me to relate to people. And I've seen so much of life, since my childhood, and I've got so much of experience that in my career as a life coach, whatever challenge my clients have, sat opposite to me and told me, I've seen it happen either within my life or I've seen it happen around, So it's all based on practical knowledge that I help my clients with. And that is exactly what I'm planning to do with you all today. Just to share some practical and even scientific evidence-based know-how on how we can tackle this, I would want to call it devil called happiness. Happiness is a devil which, we all keep chasing, but unfortunately it's so devilish that it doesn't come to us. There's a very solid reason behind it. Simply because human beings are not designed to be happy. Genetically, we are not coded to be happy like other animals. It is only because of evolutionary changes that once we had the agricultural revolution which came in, once humankind, much before civilization and historic records were maintained, once we mastered the art of our agriculture, the entire dynamics of humans changed. Till then, we were hunters, gatherers, and like that. Till then, we were pretty much like a happy soul, like most of the other animals and species out here, where if you get to eat that day, good and fine, but you're not worried about whether you will get it tomorrow or not. The imaginative power, the thought process in terms of imagination, nightmares, dreams, only human being is blessed, or I would say even cursed in certain situations with. Other animals cannot do that. They cannot imagine, and therefore they cannot progress because they cannot innovate. It's the imaginative power of human being, which is a double-edged sword, which is helping us to grow and survive as a species. Yeah, we are very good survivors compared to many of the other species. We are very good at survival. And that is one of the biggest things. And as a part of this survival process, we started adapting rapidly to the changes which started coming around. Once agriculture started, the entire focus shifted to, let's say, the materialistic world, where people wanted to own lands, people wanted to own sacks of grain. They wanted to, the prosperity was, or the happiness was more linked to prosperity and to fortune, whatever we had, So that is where the dynamics of humankind started changing. We started focusing more on external happiness, or what I call as materialistic happiness. As per research conducted, the depression which comes to humans, it is genetically linked, which means that if your forefathers had depression problem or related to that, there is a very good chance that you will suffer from it. So what the scientists did in the early years, what they did is they did a research to find out whether happiness is also genetically passed on. And the result was that only 50%, there's only a 50% chance that happiness will be passed down. And that is not because there is a happy gene or something, but it is the absence of depression gene. So there is no direct relation to happiness and human beings as such. All right. So 50% of the possibility of you to be happy depends upon genetical factors. 40% of you to be happy depends upon your internal changes. As a human, as a soul, what are the changes that you bring within you That constitutes to the rest 40%, and the remaining 10% is based upon the circumstances or the situations around us. Now, this might be a new kind of unlearning for many of you, because most of us feel that it is the external factors, people around me, the situation around me, the petrol prices, the facilities, or the, I don't own that Porsche car. All those things are the cause of my unhappiness, and they play a major role. Actually, no, it plays only 10% impact. 50% of it genetically is passed down. So if the in the previous 2 generations, if you do not have any depression cases, then chances are that you are design neutral. I wouldn't say that you're design happy, you're design neutral. All you need to do is, which means that 50% is covered. The rest 40%, what is within your control, the changes that you can incorporate within you, that 40% is what we don't focus upon, and we keep focusing upon things around us. That is what I have noticed in my experience as a life coach with many of the people. So I have to realign the entire priorities and bring back the focus of my clients, and start solving the problems one by one, attaining what is possible by them one by one, and then moving ahead. All right. So before going ahead, I would like to invite Sheetal Kamath. Hello, Sheetal. Can we see you?
There is no electricity, so it's pretty dark now.
No problem. I understand. It happens, in this virtual world, all this is a part of day-to-day life. So there's no power, so I'm not able to see you. That's okay. But when possible, please do come online. Okay, Sheetal, welcome. Okay, we just started the session. I was just giving a brief intro. Now, before moving ahead, I would like to ask all of you, okay, some of you relate, when was the last time that you were happy? If it's too personal, you don't have to mention nitty-gritties, but tell us overall, when was the last time you were happy?
Just 10 minutes before, when you asked whether you're happy or not.
So that is the clue, to Raji's happiness. She just needs to employ someone to keep asking her, are you happy? Are you happy? And she'll become happy.
Anything can make you happy. That is what
Exactly. Anything can trigger happiness within us. It is all in our mindset. So I'm glad that 10 minutes ago, and I'm the reason that I could make you smile. Okay, really glad. Thank you so much. Any other answers? When was the last time that you were happy? And who or what was the reason for that?
Me. I was happy last night.
And
very
what was
happy.
The reason for that?
I ate Golgappas.
Same pinch. We talk about food. Yes, there's Hema there. Yeah. So yeah, you talk about food, and I'm a foodie. I love food. So
Me too.
Food, of course, brings happiness.
Right.
But at the same time, lack of food also does not make me happy. I have got very high tolerance level. I can control my cravings very much. Even if I don't get Golgappas for a year, it's fine. When I get it, I'm delighted.
I can't survive. No, I was very happy because I got Kolkata style of Golgappas. So my happiness was beyond.
Oh, Abhay, are you treating yourself to Kolkata Golgappas frequently? Do you enjoy that? I haven't heard about
Yes, sir.
Kolkata Golgappas. Yeah.
The food here is really tasty.
Really tasty, yeah? Oh, good.
Yes, sir.
So on my next visit, I'll reach out to you, and you can take me around in Kolkata whenever I come. I've been trying for the last, let's say, 30
Definitely,
years,
sir.
but I haven't managed to. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to take you through a short PowerPoint presentation, which will help you to reinforce the learnings which we are going to cover. All right. Can you all see my screen share?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thanks for confirming. So we all chase this, I was calling devil called happiness, where we need to understand the science behind the happiness before moving ahead. So let me start with the fundamentals. What do you think, or where do you think happiness comes from?
Within
us. All right. Now, I would like to know where exactly in our body does happiness generate?
mind.
Mind. Okay. So by mind, do you mean the brain? Is that what you call the mind? The organ?
Oh, not the organ. Your thoughts.
Thoughts. Okay. So thoughts are generated within our brain. And so again, it comes to the same organ is the brain, from where happiness arises. Am I right?
But then your mind is different from brain. So what I believe is happiness comes from your mind. Mind is where all your thought processes and everything takes place. And
okay.
From
so
where
according to you, the mind is not physical.
No.
Right? You cannot point out any.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not physical.
Yeah.
So probably let's call it the soul, the energy within us.
Okay.
Would that fit your description? Right? Yeah. Okay. Now we are looking at it in a physiological way. So possibly someone who has studied psychology maybe might know the answer. So I'm not sure whether Nisha should attempt, but others, where do you think in our body there is a physical thing which happens when you are happy or any emotion overtakes you? There is a physical change which happens. I would like to know if you are aware where it happens and how it happens.
Is it due to hormones?
Yes, it has to do with the hormones. So where exactly does the change happen? Emma, you said CNS?
Yes.
Central nervous system?
Central nervous system.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Any other option? Who said hormones, by the way? I didn't see that person. Who was that?
Rosemary.
Rosemary, yes. Rosemary, are you taking from my previous learnings?
I wasn't much sure about that.
Yeah, but I'm glad, you know, that you're still aware of it. Very good. Hormones, okay, that is what actually makes different or brings about different emotional changes within us. The trigger is our brain. Brain is the one using our senses. We have different senses like sense of sight, sense of smell, right? Hearing and touch, the feel on the skin, all that. Using the senses, the brain deciphers the situation that we are in, and based on that, it triggers certain hormones to be released. The hormones are released by different glands. Okay, some of the very common hormone that you must have heard is oxytocin and adrenaline. Oxytocin comes under the category of happy hormones and stress hormones. One of the popular one is adrenaline. So the brain senses, it triggers the gland to release the hormone. And where is the happiness felt? That's a tricky question. Where is the happiness felt? Nisha, do you know the answer? You're muted, ma'am. You're muted.
in the heart.
In the heart. Okay. Any other option? Any other idea?
Whole body.
On our face.
On our face, on our whole body. Who said whole body? Ranjit? Right.
Yes.
Yes. It is felt, any emotion, it is felt across the body. The reason is the hormones are released into our blood. Get it? That is why when we are stressed, when we are nervous, and when there are stress hormones which are released, like the adrenaline, you even have your hairs standing, you know. It is felt across.
Yes.
Similarly, that feeling of happiness, you feel that happiness not just here in the chest or in the head, you feel it across your body. So the science behind happiness is, it is all a play of hormones. There are different categories of hormones. In the happy hormones, you have oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, endorphins, etc. Depending on the situation, each of these hormones is being released. For example, oxytocin is released when you are with the loved one. When you are engaged with someone whom you love, when they touch you, when they hug you, kiss you, you release the happy hormone called oxytocin. Serotonin is released when you are having with your friends and having a gala time, things like that. When you achieve something in life, when you have recognition, you know, things like that which comes your way. Like as a child, you may have gone to the stage to receive an award. The endorphins would have been very high in blood at that time as you were receiving the award. Okay, now talking about feelings and talking about happiness, I wanted to take an example of our childhood, which I just started talking about. I got a clue from that. As a child, you won some award, right? Have you been on stage as a child to receive an award? Yes or no? You can unmute.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Not,
Great.
yeah.
Abhay also? Right. So imagine you are sitting in the audience, your name is called on the stage. Immediately, the moment your name is called, what is the feeling which comes inside you?
Anxiety, happiness together.
Anxiety and happiness together. Good.
Yes.
Any other idea? What is that feeling, actual feeling which you have?
Pride.
You feel pride.
You feel pride.
Yes.
Nervousness.
Okay. Any other idea? Huh?
Nervousness.
Nervousness. Yes.
Yes.
The immediate feeling, even though, yeah, it is stress. Even though it is happiness, you know that there is a positive outcome. You're going on stage, you're receiving an award. You know that it is a positive thing which is happening. Still, the immediate hormone that is released is your stress hormone. You get up from your seat. Imagine, okay, you're getting up from the seat and you're walking towards the stage. There's a rush of that stress hormone in your blood. And what happens? All your senses are at peak. You hear even a pin drop in that crowd, okay, in that loud noise. Your eyes are seeing better. You're feeling that air conditioner or that hot, whichever situation you are in. And as you climb on the stage, your heartbeat also increases. And the reason for that is more about to do with what Raji said, anxiety. Will I trip and fall? What if I make a fool of myself? This starts happening as soon as you start climbing the staircase, okay, to the stage. The moment you receive your award, okay, that is when most of us take the photographs, right? The happy moment. And have you looked at those photographs? Do you really think you look very happy in that while receiving the award? You don't.
Sometimes.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
rarely, especially if it is a comfort zone. For example, if it is your school auditorium where you are coming every day, if it's a comfort zone, then yes. Now, the best moment to capture a photograph of someone receiving an award is the moment they are climbing off the stage. When your child or your friend comes down from the stage, the moment they take the first step, take a photograph, and that is where you will capture the real happiness of that person. And the reason is that the moment you're receiving the award, still you're in the limelight, you're in focus. The stress hormones don't die. At the same time, happy hormones are taking over. And the moment you walk away and you feel that, okay, I am away from the spotlight, the only hormone which will be totally at the peak will be your happy hormones. And that is the time when you find that genuine happiness coming inside. And see, another thing I wanted to take and make you learn from this example is, it takes only a fraction of a second to change your mood. The hormones takes only a fraction of a second to change you from a nervous, stressed out person to a happy and content person. That is the power of hormones in our blood. So one of the mantra that I want you all to learn is, you can actually fool your brain. You can actually fool your brain to release happy hormones. Okay. Have you noticed many people around you, many of your friends who are happy, so-called, okay, they have their set of challenges. What is one common thing that you see in them? Any of the happy people around you, do you find a common trend in them?
They will be very energetic.
They will be very energetic. Good.
Maybe easy going.
Smiling.
I'm sorry, can you come again?
Maybe a little easy going. They'll take things in their stride. They'll say it's okay.
Yes,
whatever.
they don't get, yeah, they are easygoing actually. Is that what you meant?
Yes.
They don't take, yeah, they take things pretty easy and they don't get panicked fast. They don't get nervous fast. They don't get angry fast. And they don't get happy also very fast. They don't get too much excited with happiness also. They are well balanced. So that is the science behind happiness. You can actually fool your brain into being happy. And for that, you need to understand how you can fool is, you need to understand the types of happiness. There are two types of happiness. One is external happiness. What is commonly found, which is very commonly found around us, and even we are unknowingly chasing external happiness. And the second is your internal or inner happiness. let's take the external happiness and discuss that first. What, according to you, is external happiness? What do you think is external happiness?
The happiness that we feel because of the environment that we are living in, any kind of change is positive, that we acknowledge in a positive way and makes us feel good. I think that is external happiness.
Perfect.
Friends,
Perfect.
family, environment, institution, anything. Like that's from outside, not from within.
Okay, all right. That's true. So something external which triggers the happiness in you is known as external happiness. Simple. And very aptly explained by Nishaji. Very good. Now, I'll give a small example, okay, which you can easily relate. Imagine you're coming back home and you have a big bar of chocolate in your hand, okay, a big bar of chocolate, and there are some kids at home. As you come in and you show that chocolate to the child, naturally the child will be excited. You will see the happiness level going high, and as you give the chocolate to the child will be very happy. And what does the child do? It will immediately start unwrapping the chocolate and he or she will start eating it, right? And that makes the child very happy. While in that process, the child may come and hug you and tell you that, oh, thank you so much, I love this chocolate, and stuff like that. You know, they will show their affection back. Once they eat the chocolate and once that wrapper is being thrown away, now normal kids don't put it into the dustbin for sure. They throw it here and there. Once that is thrown away, is that happiness there? You see that happiness in that child anymore?
Gone.
Right? It's gone, right? They don't come later in the evening.
Yes.
They don't come, they don't come and tell you that, thank you, Papa, thank you, Mama, for that chocolate. You know, I enjoyed it a lot. They will not. And
It's
it is not their fault.
situational.
Yeah, you're right. So that is momentary or external happiness. Happiness which has been triggered by something external, like Nishaji said. And as long as that external stimulant is there, that happiness is there. Once it is gone, that happiness is also gone. A lot of things around us we unknowingly are doing, which is based out of external happiness, like window shopping that we do. Okay, one of the common pastime is that we go window shopping and we feel all happy and good. Then hogging food. Okay, some of the favorite things that we hog is again external happiness that we do. And things like that is what is considered as external, something that money can buy or something which is beyond or external to us. Okay. People say that money is important because it can lead to happiness, and some of us do actually believe in that. But the difference is, you sitting beside the pool of a posh villa and crying, which you own, is the same as you sitting in a small hut and crying, okay, when you're hurt. It's the same pain that each individual is undergoing. The change of ambience of sitting in an AC room is not going to make any difference to the pain that you feel inside. So whatever you buy monetarily using money or fame and power, all those are not the key which will lead to actual happiness. And that actual happiness is the second type of happiness called as inner happiness. Inner happiness is something which stems out of contentment. What do you mean by contentment? What is contentment?
I'm okay with what I have.
I'm okay with all I have. Very
Feeling
simple
satisfied.
yet powerful definition. Yeah. Second one,
Feeling satisfied.
feeling satisfied with what you have. And more importantly, you're okay with what you don't have. The second part is more important. Okay, you are okay with what I have, but the challenge is that people focus on what I don't have. And that is one of the most, biggest reason for misery that people undergo in this age. I'm talking about today's age. Okay? Rather than what I have, I always look at what I don't have. And that is the reason or the biggest hurdle for attaining happiness. Clear? So next time, whenever you get excited, whenever you get happy, or you see people around you happy, try and judge and find out whether this is external happiness or is it actual inner happiness. If it is external happiness, then you know that, okay, this is a passing, it's a fad, it will go off in some time, and help that individual or help yourself to start discovering contentment in life. Because when you are contented with what you have, as I told you, in the prehistoric times when we were hunters and all, we never had possession. No, even now in the jungle world, in the forest, there's no boundaries. Okay, the animals are free to go anywhere. The birds are free to fly across Pakistan, India to Bangladesh. They are free to do that. There is no boundaries for them. It is all set by human beings. And what we started doing is we started restricting ourselves within this materialistic world. And then we are like struggling now to find happiness. We all need to understand, trust me, the last breath that we take, you know, when you are at the tipping point of life and death, it's either there or here. All these materialist things will not come in your head. I have actually been there. When I was 29-year-old, I suffered from a brain hemorrhage. I had started my organization named Perivartan just 1 year ago. And into 11 months of operation, I actually had one of the artery in my brain. It broke and I was bleeding in my brain. I had to undergo open brain surgery. I had a cut all the way from here till here, like Gajani style. It was there till three years ago. And you know, I overcame that. That mark is gone now. It's not very visible. You won't believe, without using any cosmetics, but or any medication, simply by not focusing on that. You know, for many years that mark was there. We tried different methods to get rid of the mark. It didn't work. So once I was having a life coaching session with a client, and I was telling her the importance of talking positive, because whatever you talk, that aura, sound is an energy which cannot be converted into any other energy. So whatever sound we take out, okay, it stays, it seems, in the universe. It resounds and it is there as an aura around us. So that is why, if you notice, people who are spiritually higher level, they talk only good things. They are very mild and they don't use harsh language. And the reason for them to have that aura and that positivity around is, one of the reasons is that what they talk. So I was telling this lady to focus more on positive words and you know, talk good things, so that you will start focusing on good and positivity. Next day morning, I woke up and I was having this case running in my mind, and suddenly, like, if words, okay, which are negative can impact, shouldn't what our eyes see, if we see negative things, it should also impact. And that day, as I was taking shower, I looked into the mirror and I noticed whenever I used to look into the mirror, the first thing I used to focus is this mark. I decided not to do that. I stopped focusing on that. Even today, when I look into the mirror, my eyes don't even go here. I've trained myself. And when I stopped focusing on that negative, my brain, my mind, or my soul started focusing only on the positive aspect of my face. The negative aspects, the physiological aspect of negativity started fading away by itself. I cannot find any other reason for that to fade away in the last 3 years. So coming back, okay, I had drifted a bit. I'm sorry for that. Coming back to that, you know, as I was being wheeled into the surgery, there was only a 80%, there was only a 50% chance of me returning, 80% of me to lose my memory if I come back, 50% chance of losing my voice, which is my bread and butter. But as I was being, you know, given the drip and I was put into anesthesia, the last memories of me were of my loved ones and, of course, my organization, Perivartan. I didn't, it never came in my focus how much money I had, what is my card, how much bank balance I have. Those materialistic, worldly things never came in. What was running in my mind during the last few minutes is the experiences which I got in my life. And that is what made me realize that that is all that matters. The rest of it really doesn't matter. Okay, so I hope you don't have to go to that extreme to realize this particular fact of life, but please keep that in mind. Okay, during your last moment, you are not going to check your bank balance. All that things will not be of use. So don't focus on materialistic things. Look at what is the value addition you're giving to other people. What are the experiences you are getting for other people around you? How are you making them feel? And naturally, it is a give and take. When you give it back. Respect, love and all, unless you give, you don't get it back. You can snatch it from people, you know? So that's what. I want you all to check whether we all have a key to happiness, and that key, who has it? Is it still with you, or you unknowingly have given it to others around you? This is one big mistake we all do.
It's with us,
You know,
sir.
for me to be happy, somebody has to turn the key. Okay, if she is happy, then I get happy. Okay, if my wife is in a bad mood, then I'm also depressed. So that is how we knowingly or unknowingly associate our happiness, and we give that key to the other person. See, whenever I want to be happy, all I need to do is just lock the room. I be here, I close my eyes, probably listen to a song, and that's it. I'm back in my mood. So my key to happiness is with me, and I don't let other person spoil my happiness. Okay, if there is something which other people are taking their frustration out of me on me, I don't usually engage on a duel unless it is my wife. Okay, because I believe it is give and take in a marital relationship. So it's better to fight it out and sort it out only in that particular relationship. But be it with my parents or my relatives, if there is a negativity coming, I just don't respond, because if I cannot help, I don't get involved also. Because and especially in such cases, but I can easily take care of my clients and their cases. But when it comes to my loved ones, I don't usually involve. I let them live their life naturally. I don't want to micromanage or make them live their life in the way I want. That wouldn't be right. So please check who has the key to your happiness. If you find that your key to happiness, or let's call it the remote to your happiness, is with somebody else, please snatch it back. Keep it with you. This one step will ensure that you start your journey on finding positivity and happiness in your life. All right. Now, how many of us suffer from anxiety? Almost all of us, right? Is there anyone who is blessed who doesn't get anxious in life? Please raise your hands or tell me, are you away or are you safe from anxiety? No. Okay, right. So see, here is a simple tool which will help you to do what is in your control and leave what is, to find out what is the anxiety factor and get rid of that factor so that anxiety won't bother you. Make a list of the problems that you have, the challenges that you have. Make a list of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? Make a list of it. Then use this tool. I call it the circle of control. And there are 3 aspects to it. One that you see in green is called C, or in control. IC or C, which is in control. Problems, challenges, which you can solve yourself. You don't need external people's support. If you decide to overcome that challenge, you can easily do it. Such problem can be categorized under in control problems. The second category is the bigger circle of yellow, which is called as PC, which is partial control. Such problems and challenges that you are seeing or foreseeing in your life can be overcome, not 100%, but there is a 50% chance of you to overcome, provided you get the support, help, approval of somebody else. It is not 100% in your control, it's 50-50. Is it clear?
Yes.
The third is out of control problems or challenges in life. And if you notice, I have not drawn a circle around it. It's infinite. I'm leaving it to infinity. Okay. Out of control problems is where our anxiety usually resides. Once you make the list of problems, bifurcate it into 3 categories. Okay. You can make columns like this. I made a sample for you. In control, partial control, out of control. All right. And take each of the problem, analyze it and find out whether it is in control of you, whether you need somebody else's support or it is out of control, and put it into each of the following columns. You will notice that usually majority of the cases I have noticed, out of control list will be the highest. Yeah. Did I hear someone say something? Was there an input coming? No. Okay. Mostly I have seen that out of control problems that we list down will be the highest, and the least will be in control problems. Okay, probably out of the 10, there will be 2 which will be in control. There will be 4 which will be in partial control, and the rest will be in out of control. One mistake that we do here is we don't usually take situations which is in our control, and we don't focus on those challenges and problems, and we just keep ignoring it. So that problem, that challenge is already there and it is not being solved. But because I can do it myself, I keep postponing it, or I keep giving it less priority. So that challenge is already there. 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3 challenge is already there. Then the partial control, where I don't have 100% control. 50% is with me, 50% is with external factors, with other people or whoever. And the biggest list will be out of control, where we do the second mistake. The second mistake is we focus completely on out of control. We sit and worry over what is out of control. For example, let's say petrol prices, or if I want to make it rain now, it's so hot, I want to make it rain. Can I do that? I cannot. It is beyond my control. What is the point in sitting and crying that, oh my God, there is no rain. Oh my God, the petrol prices are not coming down. This month I'll have to spend additional 2,000 on petrol. And I'll sit and crib and cry and, make a hullabaloo out of it. But what is the point? Will I be able to solve it? No. What is the optimistic way of solving it is, okay, from this month, 2,000 rupees additional is being spent. How is it that I can earn that 2,000 additional? Probably my wife, she's good at baking cakes. Why not ask her if she's willing to start a business where she can make homemade cakes and start selling it? And you know what? If I think positive in that way, instead of that 2,000 which I'm losing, I may actually end up making 10K or 15K per month as a revenue which will come in. So by focusing on what I cannot do, which is beyond my control, I'm just worrying and worrying. I'm not solving. That is the biggest second mistake that we do. So 2 things that you have to do is, once you segregate your challenges into control, partial control, and out of control, start with the control problems. Start solving those challenges in your life. And once those challenges are gone, the list of challenges will get smaller and you will have less things to worry about. Second is, attempt to complete as far as possible the partial control solutions. And the third column, you just write it and you forget it. Just write it down and leave it. Don't even bother to look into it. That is what I call as fate, destiny. Let it happen according to fate. Jab aayega tab dekha jayega. When that situation comes, at that point you face it and you get over that. This is a very simple yet very effective tool to get rid of that anxiety attack that you get. You will not have to worry about what is not in your control. All right? Is it helpful? Is it clear to you, all of you?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now, we spoke about the science of happiness, okay, the science behind happiness. Now we will look at the root of happiness. The root of happiness is in our well-being, our health. Only when we have a physically fit body, a healthy body, will we have a healthy mind. When you have a healthy mind, will you have the positivity, or will you have the confidence to overcome challenges in your life? So I always start with physical things. Whenever I get a life coaching client, I start analyzing their lifestyle. I help them correct. I check, first of all, if there is any physical disorder, like, if they have a thyroid issue or any of the metabolic disorders. And once we overrule that, once we eliminate that, then we go on to the next step of identifying any lifestyle correction, probably lack of sleep could be one reason, like that. And then we help correct that. Only when the body has been fixed, then I get into the mind factor. Okay. And that is exactly what I want each of you to do also. A healthy mind requires a healthy body. So whatever I have listed here, I don't want to read it out, because I'm sure that all of you understand. And it's very common. These are things which you find in almost any motivational talks, what I have mentioned here. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of that. All right, let's go to the next. Yeah, any doubt? Did I hear a voice? Okay. Pleasure. See, in our Indian culture, pleasure is something which is not accepted openly, you know. Have you ever noticed our parents and grandparents, they were always shying away from pleasure for entertainment, for enjoyment. For them, all that was secondary. Am I right or wrong? Did you also have similar experiences with your grandparents, parents and all? Did they give high priority to pleasure?
No.
No.
No, right?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, we have one yes. The rest, I believe, most of us will notice that they were not giving priority. Why? Because in their age, there was no abundance. In our age, there is abundance. In their age, there was scarcity of resources, scarcity of money. They were focused more on survival. You know, both the parents would have been working hard to get, and you know, living itself was a struggle then. Let's say to travel from one side of your state to the other end of your state itself would have been days of journey at that time. So for them, the focus was never on happiness. It probably started from our generation onwards, where we started giving priority to pleasure. And this is where one of the most common conflict which I've noticed happening between parents and kids. Whenever you spend money for your pleasure, okay, your holiday trip or probably to buy that Xbox to play the video game, is where they find that you're spending money unnecessarily. I had a lady from IT company, a manager level lady who had joined and she wanted, I noticed that she was almost in the verge of breakdown from the stress that she was undergoing. And you know what? I recommended her to go on a vacation. And she chose Mauritius. She wanted to go alone, and it was her first trip. I motivated her. She was all planned for that. But her parents prevented her from booking the ticket, but telling that you're wasting your money on going on a trip and stuff like that. And then I had a talk with the parents. I had tried to put sense into them. And I told that, see, if this lady is not going to take a break, I'm not saying that she should go to Mauritius, but that is her choice. And it is her money and her choice. Let her make a decision. She will end up probably in mental asylum. And you know what the parents said is, well, when she gets there, we will take her to mental asylum. That is better. So that is the kind of response that I've seen coming from, you know, from previous generation, where people don't, it's okay if my daughter gets depressed or if she gets mad, it's okay. At that point, I have a reason to, you know, take her to spend money in the hospital, but let her go on a vacation, take a break, come back happy so that, you know, she can take control of things. No. That is against our society. That is, what will people say? What will relatives say? Stuff like that. So this is where we have to focus on our generation and upcoming generation. Please give them priority. Tell them to give priority to pleasure in life. Please pursue a hobby or interest. How many of you are able to do that actively? Hobbies and interests? Raise your hands. Hema, very good.
Not all, sir, somewhat.
No, I mean regularly. You should follow it regularly. Only then raise your hands. Yeah, most of us are not able to, right? All right. So I'm getting some chat messages. Let me check that. Yeah. Since lockdown, it's not easy. Yeah. Same thing. Oh, lockdown gave you time. Seema says telling that lockdown gave you time, so you're able to spend time.
I was just saying that with the lockdown, no, wait a second, I'm just going to start my video. Can you guys see me? Okay, yeah, I was just saying that when lockdown happened and I could actually take a break from work, that's when I actually started to find time for myself. So
Great. But you know what? One man's poison is another man's food. Lockdown was a poison for me, you know, because it killed my hobby. My hobby is traveling and taking photographs.
oh yeah.
So lockdown was a disaster for me, but on the other side, look at that. So Seema, it was a blessing. I'm really happy for you, Seema, that you could find time. Okay. Please do pursue a hobby, because human beings, we need a couple of things additional from all other species. We need something more to survive. Okay. No problem. Okay. Bye, Nisha. She has to leave. No problem. Nisha, if you want, I can share the recording of this. You can ping me. Let me know.
Yes, I would love that. Thank you so
Ultimately,
much.
the session has to help you, so please do that. Pleasure having you, and thanks for that input you gave, Nisha.
Thank you so much.
All the best. All right. So hobbies and interest is something which is essential because you can put a dog in a cage, okay, and give it food, water, and shelter. That dog will happily spend its lifetime there in that cage. But you put a man like that and provide food, water, and shelter, that itself, it's not enough. A human requires appreciation, recognition, rewards, affection, care, love. All these things are, we are actually very weak when it comes to that compared to other animals. Without these, our life is empty. So it is essential for us to focus on small achievements. And when you're pursuing your interest or a hobby, you're actually pursuing small gains that you're coming. It keeps coming, you know. You probably, let's say your hobby is an embroidery working. You complete one embroidery and the pleasure you derive out of it is going to gratify you in a big way. Okay? So hobbies and interests are not pastime. That is what they used to call in our parents' generation. I would say it's one of the important things that you should set aside time, not do something when you have time. Please set aside time for this. All right. Second thing which our parents never had is me time. Your mom could never find time for herself. Your dad could never think about having time for himself. It was always like for the company, mostly work. Then it would be for the family and relatives, then for the society, then for the kids. And if there is some time for that was remaining for them, they would sleep. And that time they wouldn't spend on them. That is how it was. Me time is very essential. In a week, spend at least half an hour for yourself. That half an hour, you're not available to your family, to your work, to your friends, not even to your friends. That half an hour or 1 hour, if you can make nothing like it, I am doing what my heart wants. Be it, if you know, one thing which I've noticed is ladies who cook, you usually end up cooking what other people in the family like. You never cook it for your taste or your choice, or if you're craving for something, you don't do that. Once a week, do that for yourself if required. I mean, don't just cook and eat it yourself without giving to others, but say that, hey, I'm going to cook gajar ka halwa because I want to eat. If any of you need, tell me, I'll make it for you also. Okay. So do that. And trust me, when you start doing things for yourself, you will not only have gratification, but people will start respecting you and your time. When you value yourself, others will value you. When you are not valuing yourself, when you are not valuing your time, how do you expect other people to give you respect and value? They will not. So don't think that it is okay to be selfish to a certain extent. It's okay. All right. In our culture, in our society, we always say that others first. So do that. Third is gratitude. Be happy for what you have in your life and what people gave you. So have something called as gratitude, which is very essential for all of us. And last but not the least is intimacy with your partner. Okay. Intimacy is not just, I'm not just talking in the sexual way, but also in romantic way, where even simple things like holding your hands, once you have kids and all these small things go away because the entire priority is on kids. So do those small things which will help you create and cultivate that intimacy. Okay. An action item here, which I want to recommend to you, is to maintain a happiness diary. It's an action item for you. Probably, buy a cute little diary which you want to personalize and call it your own, and start jotting down the happiness that you got every day, even if it's from a small thing. All right, probably like, okay, I was waiting at the signal, traffic lights, and suddenly there was a man on the other side. He smiled at me. Okay, and that made me happy. Good. Come down and write it down. And this will become your therapy book. Whenever you feel low in life, whenever you are blue and mood swings are there, just open this book and read through all that, whatever you've written down. It will work the best. Very simple technique and very effective technique of creating your own happiness and putting it in memory for later use. Simple? Will you do that?
Yes.
All of you slept?
Yes, sir. We will do
Yeah,
that.
that sounds very
We
doable.
will do that.
I have all the time.
Yeah, or like you're all awestruck. You're like, okay, is that what is the reaction? I don't know how to take it anyway. All right. there is a saying, I'm not sure because I have not found any solid research behind it, but there is a saying that humans, you are an average of 5 people who you surround yourself with, which is true to a certain extent. I mean, I have research, but I've not found any scientific study on that. But based on my life experience, I've noticed the 5 people with whom you spend maximum amount of time will have an impact on your life. You will start talking like them. I have done that. I started using the words they use. Okay. At some point, I had a friend from Thrissur, which is in central Kerala. And at that point, I was using more of that slang. You know, that Thrissur slang used to come. Once that lady moved out, I had started talking with, I had a Ria from Delhi was there. So I started using more of that Delhi wala slang, you know, at that time. So that itself is a big example that I unknowingly am copying or, gathering things from other people who surround me. So it becomes very important for us to ensure that who are the 5 people who are with whom I'm spending maximum amount of time in a day. It is possible that out of the 5, if there are 3 of them who are negative, then you can be sure that your life will be negative.
Yeah.
And when it comes to relationships, unfortunately, the family, we cannot throw them out. If it is, the negativity is coming from the family, you cannot. But yeah, with friends and social contacts and colleagues to a certain extent, you can ignore or even cut off. But when it comes to family, it becomes very difficult. So I'm going to share some tips on how to maintain healthy relationships. So see, relationships is, especially in an Indian context, relationship has become more like an arrangement. It has lost the depth that it used to have earlier. It's more about an arrangement that, okay, I do so much things for you to make your life easy. You do so much things for me to make my life easy. That is how it works. And the change has to start somewhere, where one of you will have to start contributing. Let's say 51% you give, 49% you take. You give a bit more. Okay, 50-50 may not work, or 80 and 20 also won't work. There are many of us who are facing that, you know, you are giving 80%, but you're getting only 20% back. And we are stuck in such a situation. There is that. But slowly and steadily get to a point where you are giving at least 51% and you're getting back 49. You take a little less than what you give. When you start doing that, you will start that relationship dynamics will start changing. Encourage positive and open communication. Don't think that people will assume. Okay, what? I'm married for 10 years. Doesn't she know that, you know, I'm going through this? No, she cannot. Because, you know, let's say this bottle is my problem now. Okay, so I am focused on the problem, and I would be probably thinking my wife should know that I have this problem. And I'm focusing on that. Why is she not focusing on this? Maybe because she's worried about something else at this point. So when she's not understanding, when she's not focusing on your priority, then please grab her attention and tell her, hello, Indu, come, see this. This is a problem. So she'll be like, oh, okay, this is the problem. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. And then probably she'll suggest, you know, so always over communicate in your relationships. Okay. Start appreciating. Even if you have to do it with your mother-in-law who is terrible, please start doing it. What if, okay, there is a situation that she is deprived of appreciation in her life, that she has become like this. We don't know her past. What she has been through in a young age. So all that is what makes people what they are today. The past is what they are made up of today. So maybe it is lack of appreciation, which might actually be a key to your happiness. When you appreciate other people, they will be forced to appreciate you, if not now, but later. It takes time to build positivity. Negativity comes immediately, but positivity takes time. But unlike negativity, positivity will not go easily. It will stay for a longer period. That is the blessing. Okay. Spend more of quality time with your children, with your family. At times, you know, my daughter, I have a 4-year-old, 4.5-year-old. She comes and she distracts when I'm in neck deep in wine. And at times it's my clients. So when it's clients, I have to, not individual, but corporate clients, I have to give unfocused attention. And she comes and at times I cannot. And now she understands. Just one look and she knows that I'm not available. But after the session, I make sure that at least 10 to 15 minutes, I'm completely with her. Nobody else and just me and her. And that takes care of stuff, you know, that is how it is. Respect, love, humility, all these things is very essential. And it has to be conveyed frequently. Affection and love is something which has to be displayed. We men have a problem, okay? We men like, yeah, who are here? Ranjit, you, me, then who else? Deepak. Yeah. We men have a problem that we believe we show our love by action, through actions. We don't say I love you 10 times in a day or even once in a day at times, but we show our love through our gestures, our actions around. And we expect the ladies to understand that. Never works. It never works. Ladies are not, men are of action and women are of words. That is how the saying goes. So you have to, doesn't matter if you do 10 action items in a day, which shows your love and care for her. If you don't tell I love you once in a day, you're doomed. That day is gone. So yes, keep maintaining that and keep showing affection and conveying love. Show and convey. Okay. Positive feedback and constructive criticism. It becomes very essential for us to find out and distinguish between a feedback and a criticism. Criticism by itself is negative. Okay, but there is something called as positive, or not positive, but constructive criticism. How do you differentiate between a criticism and a constructive criticism? Anyone knows how to do that? Any of you?
Probably the way that you mention it.
Rather than saying that, why did you do that? You could probably be, put it in a very subtle manner, say that, is it possible? Maybe we could try something different.
It is the way how you say it.
Yeah,
No.
probably the choice of words.
No, not exactly.
Which can benefit us.
Okay.
The feedback which can benefit us. Improve ourselves.
Let me help you here. See, criticism happens when a person is hurting your ego. It's putting you down and hurting your ego. That is what is known as criticism. Okay. For example, if my wife makes the chai in the morning and brings, I take a sip and then I didn't like the chai. Okay. I can tell her in a proper manner that the chai is not good, or probably I need more sugar or something. Or else I can actually demean and criticize her by telling, what kya chai banana bhi nahi aata? What nonsense, you've been doing it for 10 years and you don't know how to take care of it. This is yuck, I cannot even put it in my mouth, take it away and throw it off. That is criticizing person. Now, constructive criticism will also be like this. Same way, same tone, same bad words. But at the end, there will be a positive input on how you can improve. For example, after yelling at her and telling, "Ye kaise chai banaya? What nonsense! This is how you make a chai." Yesterday the tea that you made was good. It had more of milk in it. Today, like, it's yuck, I cannot have it. So I gave a feedback telling that there is lack of milk today. So when you hear at the end, after every criticism, if at the end you see a chance of improvement, if there is a scope of improvement which is being added by that person, please take it in a positive manner. Throw away all the negatives that came, but take that positive thing and from tomorrow add that extra milk. But there are some wives who will put tons of milk next day and make it milky.
I was just saying, we'll probably say make your own tea from now on.
That is what I actually started doing, because I have a uniform. I have a uniform shirt of Parivartan, which I wear. And initially we used to have a maid. Since lockdown, they stopped. So that maid lady used to try and wash and it never used to come out well. So I used to always tell my wife, uniform, she's not taking care of it and all. Then my wife said, okay, I will start washing it for you, so it will be better. She started washing and starching it and all. Still, it was not up to the mark, and I kept cribbing and complaining. One fine day, she gets up and tells that, I'm not taking this to the washing machine. If you want, you wash it yourself so that it comes your way. And guess what? It worked. Actually, I thought, yeah, if they cannot do it, then probably they are lacking the skill sets, okay? Or they don't know what is my expectation. So let me do it. Till date, Parivartan uniform, I am washing it myself. I'm not
recorded.
Because ultimately for me, it is not about winning the ego and putting her or the maid down. My job is not to teach them how to, wash clothes better. For me, when I go out to meet my client or when I go for a training, I have to look decent in the way I want. So that I will do. So that is my positive outcome, not my ego. That is where not many people will be able to understand it. And trust me, in my younger days, I also never used to understand. It's only with experience and maturity that I could, get to be here. Yeah, bringing the magic of romance, which I already mentioned. Okay, bring it back, which is very essential for us because man, not just man, by man, I mean human. Okay, humans need that affection, love, care, and even the physical aspect of it. Do that. Know yourself very well. One of the common reason that we are not happy in life is because you really don't know yourself. You don't know what is your strength and probably what is your area of improvement. You know that something is lacking, but you don't know what is the exact thing which is lacking. Probably if you find someone who can help you identify that and help you overcome it, and if you cannot overcome it, help you adapt to it, accept it, that yes, I have that weakness. It is essential for you to understand yourself, all right? Identify goals and plans. We never have goals and plans for ourselves. I want all of you to start putting a goals and action plan for yourself so that you will start working on it. When you start doing things for yourself and you start achieving it, trust me, the kind of boost you get in terms of morale and confidence is very high. Create a benchmark for yourself and keep breaking it. That is the only way you can keep improving from the competition around you. If you keep fighting, or I've read somewhere that if you keep flying with the crows, you can never get as high as eagles do. Try and fly with the eagles and there you will be. So if you keep yourself in the company of people who are, suckers, who are losers, who are non-achievers, that is where you will be. But probably that has become your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone and break it and challenge yourself. It's very essential for you to keep challenging what I am yesterday, what I am today, and what I'll be tomorrow. Keep a focus on this. Keep a me journal. And in that journal, keep your progress. My progress in terms of health, mental wellness, fitness, my journey in terms of if you are an entrepreneur or if you're pursuing a hobby, where am I? What is the status? Keep writing it down. The progress you are making in life, write it down. And writing is very, very important because, see, it's one of the senses. When you're writing it, the sense of touch of the pen and the words of the letter, it is having a lasting imprint on your brain rather than typing it down. Right? So make it a point to write it down. Focus on continuous improvement, because if you don't focus on continuous improvement, you're going to get stuck in life. When we get stuck in life, there's no escape from that. Okay. And let the world recognize you or not, let the world appreciate you or not, you do that for yourself. Give yourself a pat in the back. Give yourself a hug once in a while. It works. It may sound silly to other people around. That's okay. Who are they to certify things for you? You do it for yourself. All right. When you appreciate small things, when you tell yourself, wow, I made a perfect round chapati, good. Others may not appreciate it, but once you do it and you tell yourself, the kind of boost you're going to get is, especially in terms of self-esteem. We Indians are lacking in that self-respect and self-esteem. Self-respect leads to better self-esteem. So start loving yourself. Enough of loving the world, enough of loving your people, okay, enough of loving things and materials. Start loving yourself. It's high time you do it for yourself, all right? And give yourself the best. We always, I've noticed, my mom also do it. She will eat the burnt chapati. She will not give it to others, but she will keep the worst for herself. No, don't do that. Either you make an additional chapati, which will be good, and throw away the one which didn't come out, or let it be like a lottery. Whoever, as you keep taking it from the casserole, whoever gets it, let them take. Don't just, you don't end up taking the worst ones, go for excellent ones. And whatever you do in life, always give your 100%. It may work or it may not work. That really doesn't matter. When you go to sleep, when you go to bed, at least you will tell yourself that, hey, at least I tried. You're keeping your hand in the heart. You can tell that honestly that I did try my best. The rest is fate and destiny, which is beyond my control, out of control, right? Leave it for that. Stop existing and start living. And for that, you need passion. कुछ एक जज्बा होना चाहिए ना life में. You have to have that one iota of passion in life, which will help you to stay connected to yourself. It's very essential. Self-perception is another threat that I notice we Indians face, where there is 3 sides of you. One, what you think of yourself, what the society or the other people around you think of you. And the third is the real you, the reality. By telling this, what I mean is, even you don't see yourself as you are. You underestimate yourself. Stop doing that. Self-perception is actually wrong. And even scientifically, it seems when you see yourself in the mirror, you see yourself 10 times less attractive, 10 times less fair, 10 times less attractive than what you actually are. And for this very same reason, whenever you pick a perfume or whenever you pick a photograph, when you want to select a photograph, don't do it yourself. Always take the help of an opposite gender. Chances are that they will come up with the photograph that you feel is the worst. But you know what? I have done that and I've got maximum likes coming on my Facebook for the photograph, which I thought I sucked, you know. But that is my perception where I'm underestimating myself, right? Seema, you remember? There was recently you wanted me to take a photograph that you felt you were not looking good, but I used it for one of our purposes when we.
Oh yeah, true.
This was the context in which I was telling that you are a bad judge of you.
Oh yeah.
All right, good. So you have all been very patient listeners. Any questions till now? Is there any questions which I can help you with?
Okay, I had this doubt, like for instance, like we talked about how we perceive ourselves lesser than we think. Okay, we have different perceptions. So there's this portion where we showcase ourselves in a different way to other people.
Right.
Sometimes I feel that can be a bit emotionally draining or, you know, mentally draining because you're just trying to be another person all the time. Like you have a certain image of yourself and you're just like trying to be that image.
Right.
So, I mean, what are your views on that?
Seema, basically, this is what is called as enforced, you know, the society or the people around us. At times, even it's self-imposed. We tend to fit ourselves into an image which is not the real one. Right. So,
yeah,
you know, when I know Hema for like around a decade or more now, right, Hema? Even though we are not frequently in touch, I had met her once for a training in Mumbai. Initial days of Parivartan, and we were partners. The organization she was with were partnering with Parivartan. And you know what? I came across one of the biggest things that I noticed and liked about her is she was so true to herself. She was very genuine to herself. And the smile she had was totally like, you know, from deep inside. So that's what's coming up now. So that is exactly what I found, you know, you have yours, and not just her, but her entire gang of, you know, other co-workers. I had an evening out with them and I had a grand gala time. We didn't do anything big things. We just had some vada pavs and we were hanging out. And, you know, simple joys of life is what I found in that Mumbai life with them. So that I feel is the reality. When you accept that, okay, this is the only thing that I can be. This is the only thing I am. And if others want me to be like that, okay, I can try and attempt. But if I'm not, then I'll give it up. I don't think you should pursue it any further. But at least try it once, because mostly the intention of the other people around us may not be bad. Okay, the intentions, they would want to see us better. They would want us to grow in life. All that is there. But the way they convey it to us, and that is the problem where it comes. The way they convey is where it hurts us. So probably it's all, I would say, take it on a case-to-case basis, Seema, where if you feel that I have to change, you should do that. But do that change for yourself. Only if you feel you want to change. Don't do it because other people want it, because I say that would be doing injustice to yourself. And second thing is, you can never keep others happy all the time. For example, if they are telling you jump to the left, and you are like, okay, I'll make him happy, I jump to the left. Then he'll be like, no. I think you should jump to the right, and you will jump to the right. No, you will continue your life like that because they themselves don't know what you want. Right? Only you can understand.
I face this so much in work more than anything else.
Yeah, at your work.
Because I deal with kids. Yeah, I deal with students. I deal with kids. So their expectations are all over the place.
I can totally understand. I can imagine. Right? I hope this answers in a short and context without.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Any other questions? Any other solutions that you see? All right. Last but not the least, I want you to do the most important thing, and that is smile. And this is one way you can. I remember I was telling you to fool your brain. Remember, you can fool your brain by smiling. You know why? When you smile, the muscle movement will trigger your brain to think. It will make your brain to believe that there is something exciting, something amusing which is happening. And you know what the stupid brain will do? It will start releasing the happy hormones, depending on the situation that you are in. So keep smiling. And if you have seen many happy people, you may have friends or family who are always happy. You will see that they are always having a smile on their face. And trust me, they are not happy because they are smiling. It is the other way around. They are happy because they keep smiling. The smile is not because of happiness, but happiness is because of the smile that they have. So keep smiling, because it is a way of altering your hormones, and find a reason to keep smiling. That is going to help you in a big way. You can reach me on my number. Most of you have my number directly. I'm on FB and other social media. You just need to search for #LifeCoachArun. Right? Yes. Any updates, any other solutions that you need at this point of time? I took 20 minutes more than what I promised. I'm sorry for that, but I hope it helped.
Thank you.
It was fine. I joined
Alright.
late, but it is fine.
Loved it. Yeah.
I'm glad. Okay, in that context. All right. Sheetal, current aa gaya kya? Do you have power? Can we see you? And Deepak, can we see you also? Yeah, so there it is. Hi Sheetal, Deepak.
I'm really sorry.
Let's
I
see
don't
your
know.
happy faces. Let's
But
see
I'm-
your happy faces. And I have Oppo A53 with us. I don't know who is behind that. I'm so sorry. But somebody, you didn't probably change the name. That's okay. But let us know who you are, Deepak and Oppo.
I'm really
Before we
sorry.
say audio.
Yeah, I actually don't have
Okay.
webcam in my desktop. I'm really sorry for that.
Oh, all right, Deepak. All right, no worries. But anyway, I hope all of you had at least some insight about how to control your happiness. And as I told you,
Exactly.
one solution will not work. We are human beings. We are not machines. There is no one fixed solution. If your laptop and your PC crashes, Windows crashes, the only one simple step is to reinstall Windows. It will work. Both will start working in the same way. But with humans, we all react in different manners. We all respond in different manners. So there is no one-shot solution. I would say don't depend too much on internet-based GAN. It will not help you, because what works for one may not work for you unless you are able to isolate the real factors of your life. But it becomes really difficult to isolate when you are experiencing life. When you are undergoing the emotions, it becomes very challenging. You need somebody stronger. I've seen one more mistake which I want to tell you is I've seen many people taking support from people who are undergoing similar problems. I've seen divorce, when divorce is going on, I've seen such ladies taking support from another divorcee or who is undergoing divorce. Two weak people cannot pull each other up. You're equally at, you just keep, you're just getting an agony aunt in each other or agony uncle. You just keep telling your problems and you get temporary relief, but you're not getting solid solution. For that, you need someone stronger to pull you up. So depending on the situation that you are, find a friend or a family member or even professional help if required to take you out of that situation. It works. All right. Any inputs from your side? Did you enjoy the session? Did you like it?
Yes.
I had asked you to bring a
The
paper and
happiness
pen, but
book.
unfortunately, happiness book.
That's a great idea, because I think it really changes your perspective to. It opens up your perspective basically.
Small things. You know why? Because when you read it, it brings back your imagination goes at work, and you bring back that memory as visual. You start visualizing it, and when you start visualizing the happiness around you, you start feeling happy internally. It's a very powerful but very simple technique. Okay, And I had asked you all to bring a paper and pen, but unfortunately I don't have enough time because we focused on other things. I wanted you to make a handprint like this. Can you all see this?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yes.
Okay. Make a handprint like this of yours, and
Yeah.
I want you to fill it up with positive things about yourself or positive reinforcements about you.
Okay.
And this will be a promise you're giving yourself. Okay. And trust me, when you make it a part of your happiness book, okay, maybe you can stick it in that and keep opening it and checking it once in a while. You speak positive about yourself, and trust me, you don't need anyone else to support you. You are your best friend.
Yeah.
You can find yourself to be. All right. So great.
Arun sir, just a point to add.
Yes, Ranjit.
Yeah, I enjoyed your session. Actually, I am pursuing one online course, Coursera, a course from Yale University.
Uh-huh.
The course name is The Science of Well-being.
Okay.
Yeah, after seeing you, I thought I will also like join your session because it will boost my happiness also.
Oh, that's so good. I'm so glad to hear that
Yeah.
from you. And you know,
Yeah.
And being compared to a Yale University course, I'm really like, thank you so much.
Sir, maybe you will be knowing my tutor is Laurier Santos.
Okay. I'm sorry, but Ranjit, I'll be very honest with you. I am not very connected to, even on a professional level, I'm not connected to people.
Now, I do courses on Coursera as well. They have different tutors for, they have like different universities
This is
providing different this thing.
Second
sir,
thing
this
is,
just for sharing what I was learning. This is called rewiring workshop.
Rewiring.
Rewiring. It is 10 weeks program.
Okay.
So we have you measure your happiness.
Right. Okay.
Yes. Then you will go. This is a week 1. Then you will find
but
your
Ranjit, there is one thing where I beg to differ here is I don't think you can measure happiness. You know why? Because happiness is very subjective. Happiness is, what makes me happy will not make you happy. In the same way that I feel that happiness. For example, a young baby coming and into my hands and giving me a kiss, a stranger, okay, let's say a baby will make me happy in a particular way. But if it is Raji who is taking that child and the child is doing the same thing with Raji, the kind of happiness she will feel will be different from the happiness that I felt.
Yes.
Which,
yes, you want to tell something.
I think we're stuck.
Yeah.
Robotic voice.
Yeah.
And now we're all happy.
Of babies. It will
Arun, you were stuck for a second and you were going on in that and we go but that was like going on in a robotic
my
voice.
internet connection was unstable.
A robotic voice.
Is it better now, Seema?
Yeah.
Robotic. Is it better now?
Oh yes, you're back.
Yeah,
no.
audible.
What did you? Oh, I
Gone
did not
again.
ask you what you missed. Tell me what you heard. What is the last thing you heard?
Different
I
people
was
have
talking
different
about if
experiences.
Raji, is
Different
someone
experience.
Yes.
You are again stuck.
Is this a kind of some kind of trick?
Probably,
You-
you never know.
No, maybe internet. It was net issue.
So
So,
yeah,
Arun, I was just being entertaining because you were going on like,
for 1.5 hours now.
Sir, nothing. I just want to
Okay,
pinpoint
you're
that.
showing how I was. Okay.
yeah.
Now my internet is back. My bandwidth is back. I'm normal. I understand.
Yes.
So
Ranjit,
Ranjit,
you're
yes,
saying-
coming back to your topic.
Yes, sir. Actually, what you have mentioned is all true. This is what I feel. When I am going, it is a 10-week course. I was pursuing it from January. Now it's going to finish. I am in week 10 now.
Big 10. Okay.
Yeah, whatever you have mentioned is almost all correct. At least to add 1 or 2 points is like you said about boosting yourself. You can add meditation.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. The other
Right.
one is everything what you mentioned is all in the track. What you told is correct. You cannot measure happiness of like it is not subjective. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
This is just a
Ranjit,
guideline. So
I understand, Ranjit. We will connect and I'll be happy to help you also. We'll connect and take it.
yeah.
And second thing is that, Ranjit, since my childhood, I'm not into books. be it my academic books or other books.
Okay,
Even
okay.
now, I do not read books. I don't take things off the internet. It's from real life experience that I mostly speak. Okay, so that is probably one of the reasons that the lady that you mentioned, I'm not aware about. Even if she has been an author and published books, I'm not into that. So that is why I was telling I'm not aware of that. So please don't misunderstand.
No,
I
no,
keep
sir.
myself isolated.
No,
Yeah,
no,
so-
sorry. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that. What I meant is whatever you mentioned is clear.
Right.
It is true. It is true. Because whatever she mentioned, I feel both all are. It's like same.
I understand.
It's like
We're all spiritually the same. We are
Yes,
human
yes.
beings. So this is something I've always experienced. Being a part of a poetry community, I interact with so many people. Words wise, we differ so much. I mean, accent wise, words wise, and everything, we differ so much. But at the end of the day, the kind of pieces that we write and about what we write ends up being the same.
Wow.
Like it's about love, it's about depression, it's about a lot of mental health, it's just about a lot of things. As a human, you just realize that you're just same at the core. So I get what you mean.
And it's the same thing, Seema. I have some international life coach clients, and the challenge that a UK, Ireland, US client is facing is very similar to what an Indian is facing here. The only thing is
Exactly.
the circumstances are different. The
Yeah,
sanitarium, the situations are different. But ultimately, when you look at it, humans are all similar.
Your internet is again breaking up, Arun.
It's all the same DNA, yaar. You cannot be. We have just started segregating.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Community.
Sounds like music.
Yeah.
Arun, you're
that we have
stuck
started
again.
segregating ourselves. Is it better?
I
Is
got
it?
DNA.
How about others? Can
segregating.
you all hear me? See me?
Yeah, but you keep getting stuck
Yeah.
in
Can you
between.
hear me now? Any of you?
Yes.
Yes, you are audible now.
So, okay, Deepak. Thank you so much. So
Yeah,
I was
and
telling, we are all
yeah.
white-boned and red-blooded inside. It's all the same,
Exactly.
right?
No,
It's
but
only the external
Ranjit, I
things
really
different.
want to commend you for being able to complete an entire course on Coursera, because I keep starting courses and I never reach the end.
Actually,
I mean,
no.
it-
Actually speaking, it is your passion. Like this, even
Yeah.
Arun sir was mentioning about lockdown. What I found is I almost finished 5. Now this is my not 5. Yeah, 6th course. Yes, 5 courses I finished.
Is your 6 schools. Very good. Seema, I
That's
would recommend
amazing.
you. Seema, I would recommend you to keep smaller goals. I had a girl
Yeah.
who wanted a young girl. She's very good at painting, okay, but she was totally depressed due to certain life problems. She was in depression, had been on medications, and then came to me after getting out of that depression. But she was not motivated enough to continue. So one thing which I understood is that she was very passionate about painting, and if she starts that, then the trigger will come. The passion for life will automatically come. So I was trying my best to make her paint, and it's not. She used to buy the stuff and come, the canvas, the paint, everything, and keep it, but she cannot begin. Then she said, Arun, I'm not sure if I start, I'll be able to complete. So that is why I'm not starting. So I said, do one thing. What are you planning to make? She said, I'm planning to make a pot with a lot of different variety or colors of flowers. I said, do one thing. Start with a small area, okay? A small portion, and then probably each day complete one flower, like that. Don't think about completing the whole painting. Think about, maybe you divide your painting into sections and say, I'm going to complete this section today or this section this week, and like that. She started doing it, and then the pace increased. She started doing more and more flowers in a day, and like that she completed it. And you know what? She gifted it to me. I have it in my flat. She gifted it to me after completing the painting, and then she got all happy. She got married.
I should try that.
Yeah. Look, when you're looking at a course, don't look at the entire 10 weeks. When you look at Ranjit's 10 weeks course, it's huge. You look at, okay, I'm going to spend 10 minutes now, okay, or 10 minutes today, or half an hour today. Like that, you split and achieve. And when you achieve, give yourself appreciation. Maybe go and buy yourself to eat something. You're a foodie, so probably give yourself
I give myself the appreciation first and do the work later.
That's not how it works now. So try implementing it. It should work for you all. I'm sure it will help all of you. All right.
Thanks.
So, I'm really glad to be able to add value to each one
guys.
of you on this International Day of Happiness. Let 365 days be happy for all of us. All right. Be happy all the time, forever. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.